Yo, what is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Today we are back with another episode of the Double Feature Podcast. Still inconsistent, still inconsistent, but hopefully we get these out a lot sooner. Yeah, I was gonna say your camera is very unfocused. I don't know what is going on with it, but obviously trying to get into the groove of doing these more. And, it doesn't help that, it's January, not February, but it's early on in the year. So the news is a bit slow.
I mean, clearly we're pumping these out. So
just every day. But if you guys are new to this channel and this is your first time seeing this channel, please do us a favor, like this video if you end up enjoying it, and also subscribe, click the bell, all that stuff. It's completely free, helps us out a ton, and we just talk about movies, news, pop culture, anything related to that kind of stuff, TV, anything. So if you end up liking any of that stuff, feel free and do those three for us. It would help us out a ton. But we've got 4 topics to cover today, and before we do, just remember that you guys can always drop any questions you have down below, that link down there, and we'll answer them on the podcast. Obviously, whenever the next episode is following that question.
No matter how spicy the take.
Exactly. And also, our socials are right below us. So if you want to follow us on any of those platforms, or Twitter, Instagram, I guess.
Yeah, follow us on Twitter.
Yeah, we're constantly on. No, we do not claim that. No, we don't claim that name.
Twitter.
But we're going to go ahead and get into these topics. 2 of them are really little, and then we're going to go through some lengthy ones in the back end.
Right.
But Charlie Cox recently, a couple months ago actually, he was interviewed, or no, I don't think he was interviewed. I think it was his trainer. A couple months ago said that he was training for Avengers Doomsday, and then recently he clarified and said he does not know why his trainer said that, because he was actually training for Daredevil Season 2, and he completely denied and shut it down that he would love to be in the Avengers movies, but he at this moment is not lined up to be in Doomsday specifically. He might be in Secret Wars, but as for Doomsday, he has not gotten the call. He has expressed that he is not in that and he is not involved. And I just want to get your thoughts, because this is just weird to me that
understandable.
Daredevil is clearly a fan favorite, especially, Charlie Cox's Daredevil that's our Daredevil. And how do you feel about him not being in Avengers Doomsday? That's weird.
I wish I could tell you, because I don't know how to feel, because I think he's gonna be in Avengers Doomsday.
Okay, so, you could be playing a little
my take, and the whole reason I even think that they're going under shooting Doomsday this early is reasons like this. I think he's gonna be in Doomsday personally.
How much?
I mean, maybe a little cameo.
I mean,
yeah.
Listen, I mean, as much as I would love for that to be the case, I'm not really.
But even if that is the case, right? Mm-hmm. I don't think it's that big of an issue. I feel like it's only an issue because we know it. You know what I mean?
I guess I could see that. Yeah.
Because there's a rumor that he's not going to be in there. It's an issue. If that wasn't a rumor, there would be no issue.
It also depends.
If we watched Doomsday and we didn't see him in Doomsday, I don't think anybody would really say anything.
I guess it depends on the context and how Born Again ends. I guess.
I think Charlie Cox is pushing for that clearly, for based on what they're saying. But again, I just have a hunch he's going to be in Doomsday. I have a hunch. So. A lot of people in this upcoming slate of movies, the Thunderbolts, Fantastic Four,
no, they're
Captain
not.
America.
I hope you're prepared for them to not be in Doomsday.
I feel like not everybody. I feel like some of these characters though from these movies are going to be in Doomsday,
Maybe.
And it's the reason Doomsday started shooting this early.
Yeah,
I also think that movie's going to be shooting for a while.
I'm so curious what exactly is Doomsday? Because I feel like it's gonna be an Infinity War situation where, like Thanos is the main character of Avengers Infinity War. And I feel like that's kind of what they're going to do with Doomsday. Still not
For
behind.
Thanos though, it's a lot of like just sending minions and the Avengers basically being like, "Oh my god, someone's coming."
I'm just talking about
And then
like
some flashbacks of Thanos. So
the
I feel like
screen
Doomsday is
time.
going to be
Thanos got a
like
ton of
a
screen time
Doom
in Infinity
story,
War.
like a Doom movie.
I
Like
hope I don't want that. If you're giving me Robert Downey Jr. as Doctor Doom already, like I
not like
don't
a
care.
not like a super
But that's what I mean. Like I
center.
don't
I just
care
feel like it's gonna be more than
already.
the Thanos Infinity War. That stuff was like mainly flashbacks. Let's be honest. Like mainly
I'm not
flashback.
talking
It
about his
wasn't really like,
backstory. I'm just talking about Thanos' like screen time. Like I'm pretty sure he
oh
has the
yeah,
most screen time out of any character in that movie.
oh yeah, yeah.
I'm pretty sure, and it's
No, I
like
can understand that,
I
but I feel
feel
like this
like
approach to Doomsday is gonna be a little bit different.
I'm just curious, like what's like the MCU is at such an odd place right now that I don't even know
It
what
is.
what
It's weird to
Doomsday
say it was at a better place like during
is
Wakanda
gonna
Forever.
be. It's so interesting to me because like what is Doomsday? It's an Avengers movie, but it's like who are the Avengers? Will they be getting together in Doomsday? And it's
Sam
like
Wilson.
I'm so confused. Um, but Daredevil not being a part of that is odd to me. Now it does now obviously like Born Again could definitely change those feelings, like depending on how that ends and the context behind what Doomsday is. But as of right now, Daredevil not being in the next Avengers movie, it's kind of odd to me. That makes me wonder like who else isn't. You know what I mean? Like that makes me wonder like sure Sam Wilson well obviously is and Tom Holland obviously
I
is
mean,
and Shang-Chi
I'm.
might
I mean,
obviously be.
it's hard to be super mad at it at the same time because it's like he's gonna be in Secret Wars.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's like it's kind of hard to be mad and be like, oh, why is he not? Oh, he's in Secret. Like it's
And
like
they're already doing
again, this
Daredevil
is what I
season
mean when I
2.
say it wouldn't be a problem if it was not a thing. Like
I agree to some extent. I just think it's like odd. Now, he could be playing like, coy and like he is in the movie. And
I feel like
also
he is.
it could be a case where he just hasn't gotten the call yet, but like he is in the movie. Like there's a bunch of things, but this whole thing is interesting because it makes me think of what Doomsday will be like as a movie.
Yeah, we
Like
know nothing
leading up to
other than
Infinity War,
RDJ as
you
Doom.
could
Is in
kind
it.
of guess what's gonna
Yeah,
go on because you
they
got
were
the post
leaving
credit
tidbits.
scene for Ragnarok with Thanos' ship invading Asgard, and then obviously you had like um, just the Thanos build up over
Guardians of the
like yeah,
Galaxy.
you had the Thanos build up over Avengers, Guardians, Age of Ultron and stuff. So like you can guess like, oh, he's coming down, and the Avengers are gonna have to stop him, and it's like very simple, right? And it's like, but with the Avengers Doomsday, it's like, how's that gonna work? Like, when are we gonna get the tease? Or
Yeah,
will we?
I
Will there
mean,
be
I
a
feel like
tease?
Fantastic Four is going to be that gateway
That's the
to it.
logic and
But yeah,
logical
like the thing is, right now we know nothing.
thought.
We know absolutely nothing
Yeah, by the time we
other
got
than
to
RDJ
Infinity
is due.
War,
Other than RDJ,
that's what's so
about.
odd about all this stuff is by the time we got to Infinity War, we saw Thanos multiple times. And in here, while I do think, stuff got shifted around with Kang because that was clearly like the one they wanted to do. It's just
Yeah,
odd to think that an Avengers movie with Doctor Doom is releasing next year and we haven't seen him at all. Like that's weird to me. That's odd. And it makes me wonder what that movie is going to be like. But you guys tell us your thoughts down in the comments below on
let us
this
know.
topic. Obviously, like the video, subscribe, click the bell, all of that. But yeah, as always, go ahead and jump down there in the comments below and yeah, let us know what your thoughts are on Daredevil not being in Doomsday. What you think Doomsday will be, anything. So go ahead and leave your thoughts below. But yeah, we're going to move on to the second topic. And that is that the James Bond film franchise has now and is now and will
Yeah,
now be
this was a bomb.
controlled. It was. will be controlled by Amazon. And shortly after that news broke, Jeff Bezos tweeted, "Who do you want cast as James Bond?" And
Jeff Bezos is the new James Gunn.
It just James Gunn doesn't tweet like that though. Who do you want as Wonder Woman? Like that's just and it,
should Superman have trunks or not?
That just scares me because it feels like James Bond, which is a franchise that whether you love or don't, they have been so true to the material and keeping it refreshing, but also paying respect to it. Like if you think of, for example, the space of comic book movies, it's like milked, right? You got 5 shows a year, you got 10 comic book movies,
straight schlop coming out.
Some type of 10 properties, right? James Bond franchise was never that, right? Daniel Craig was in the role for like almost 20 years, and we only got 5 movies. They take their time. And they don't just milk it. They go, we're going to take our time till the next Bond comes. And then we're going to try to give them good movies, but not too many movies. We're not going to milk it. And immediately after this news, Jeff Bezos asking the internet who they want cast as James Bond is just so many red flags. Within like a day. Is like, not only is it controlled by a big corporation, which the only positive here now is Amazon is like the richest company in the world. So at least the movies will have money behind them. But it just scares me that
they already did anyways.
Yeah, it just scares me that now they're going to feel like even more corporate and more just do what people want. Don't even care about the storyline. Don't care about the narrative we're trying to tell across multiple years. It just seems like, what do people want? They want Henry Cavill? Fuck it, 50-year-old James Bond. Like it's like it's odd to me. It's
I wouldn't be mad at Henry Cavill as James Bond.
I would. I wouldn't have 10 years ago, but right now it's just too late for him. And it does suck for him because during his run as Superman, when he was getting, fiddled with, he could have been playing James Bond. You know what I mean? But that took that got in the way.
He looks young.
I don't know if they are going to make him James Bond for the next, decade.
I don't know if they are.
But who knows? Maybe they'll just do, a one-off James Bond movie.
I will say about this situation, I will say about this entire situation, the fact that it makes you very doubtful is very concerning given the fact that you're just talking about the Jeff Bezos, on Twitter side of it and not even the whole family estate, the whole family estate not having any control of it. Because you're talking about, you don't know if it's gonna be some studio schlop, and it's the literal family estate that had the rights to it.
It wasn't a family estate. I think it was 2 producers that oversaw James Bond for a long time.
It was something like that. Yeah.
And that's why the movies were always, whether it was good or not, they took their time.
Yeah, there was a consistency and quality and reverence in every single one of the films. And you're just talking about the Twitter side of things. I mean, you lose that there. So
yeah, that's true.
Very doubtful stuff, very concerning, but at the same time, I think we tend to overreact. Let me just say that. I think we tend to overreact at things. I think Amazon can completely have the rights to James Bond and take it serious. I think that's completely something they can do. Yeah,
and I also think they could
bring
give us
in a big director to do
James
something
Bond, Red
crazy
One.
Good.
That's definitely possible. But
you can take it as Jeff Bezos, either trolling.
Who would you want as James Bond? Who would you want?
Who would I want as James Bond?
Yes,
these are the real questions.
And I mean,
these are the real questions.
And I mean, for a decade. I would love Cavill if it was a one-off James Bond movie. Now they could do that.
Cavill could do 10 years. No. I think Cavill is young. He looks good enough to do it 10 years.
He already looks 45. He looks like he's in his 40s. Okay.
I think we have unrealistic.
He looks like he's in his 30s. Come on, dude. Please be serious.
All right, Russ. I mean, but I wouldn't want him to be my Bond. Sorry, I wouldn't want him to be my Bond.
I wouldn't mind it for a one-off. What if they start doing that with the Bond franchise? What if they just start doing adapting books, but it's not the same Bond. It's just different director, different actor, different that'd be kind of cool.
That would be crazy. Um, let's see. I mean, if I had to choose a new James Bond, I mean, obviously he has to be English.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the popular choice is reggae, Gene Page. That's not my choice. I know
Mm-hmm.
that's the popular choice.
That's my choice.
Um, oh, that's your choice. Okay,
Absolutely. I've
okay,
been
so
on
that's your choice, and
the reggae, the reggae train
that's a
for
great choice.
years now.
No, no, that's a great choice. But funny enough, and some people, they might not know how to feel about this, but me personally, Taron Egerton.
Trent Edgerton, I think he
Yeah,
would be too on the nose. Like,
you think so?
he just because the
I
kid in
think
the
he could
franchise
play like a
is the
different
silly
version.
Bond. It's
Like,
like of course, Taron Egerton's a phenomenal actor, but I just think if he was to be number one, he's kind of getting older, like older looking, and like
I feel like he's pretty perfect right now, though. I feel
yeah,
like a couple years ago he would have looked a little bit too young.
yeah. I also think people look at him like very little because Taron Egerton is a small guy.
That's fair.
But so was Daniel
Yeah,
Craig. But I think Daniel Craig's James Bond was a lot more grown. Like it looked more grown. It
yeah.
felt more grown. And Taron Egerton does have this quality to him where, regardless of what he's playing, he does tend to have a smallness to him. I like Aaron Taylor Johnson. I think he would do great
I
as
like
well.
Aaron Taylor
I
Johnson
just
too.
think he's like for some reason
I
he's
actually think Aaron Pierre would have been a decent James Bond too.
I do wonder
Unironically
who
speaking,
they will pick, and I know.
that's like a different version of James Bond, like a brolic, like but not too brolic. It's like he could still
I mean, Daniel Craig
get
was
busy.
pretty much
Daniel
that.
Craig was not Aaron.
He wasn't big, but he was the
Bro,
brawlic
Aaron
James
Pierre
Bond.
is like huge though. He's
Yeah,
like
Daniel
actually
Craig
huge.
wasn't a big person, but his version of the character
Like
was
Daniel
very
Craig,
hands on, was
when
very
Daniel Craig
running
would
through
fight a
walls.
big guy, when Daniel Craig would fight a big guy, you don't get the same feeling as if Aaron Pierre was to fight a big
Of
guy.
course,
If you
of
would have
course.
seen that on screen,
It's Reacher.
that would be like
It's
some Reacher.
Reacher
Yeah,
as a
yeah,
spy.
yeah. Talk to me. Yeah, that'd be like some Reacher type stuff. Come on, bro.
You know, people would. You know, there would be a huge
I dig
audience.
Aaron Pierre. I think he has the charisma too, and talent. He has the
He's a
entire
movie
like
star,
star
but he's
persona
Green
to be
Lantern.
like.
He's Green Lantern.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's why I said would
He's
have.
Green
That's
Lantern.
why I said would have.
He's Green
Unfortunately.
Lantern. He's Green Lantern. A lot of people want Jacob Elordi. To me, he's like too pretty. He's like too. He
Jacob
like
Elordi,
yeah.
huh?
I mean, I could see it, but he's just too like. I don't believe he would get his hands dirty. I just don't.
Bro, Robert Pattinson.
But he's doing American Psycho, isn't he? Doing American Psycho? Isn't Jacob Elordi on Luca's American
Yeah,
Psycho sequel or
yeah.
remake? So maybe he can convince us. But yeah, who would you cast as your James Bond? Tell us in the comments below what you think about this news about
Let us know.
Amazon now owning the kind of overseeing all film things related to James Bond, and then also once again who you would cast. Who's your fan cast? Who would you like to play James Bond? Yeah, and if you obviously enjoyed this video, go ahead and leave a like, subscribe, click that bell, all that. But yeah, go ahead and let us know your thoughts in the comments down below. But now we're gonna get into some real stuff, right? We got two things to review. One of these things is Captain America Brave New World, which released last week at the time of this recording. So like we can definitely go full into spoilers now. And we're gonna give our quick thoughts. But yeah, we saw this last week. Friday night, IMAX. Was low
IMAX
key
laser, to be
expecting the worst. Was low key expecting the worst. Before you go, I'm just gonna say I thought it was fine, and that's better than I thought it was gonna be. But yeah, you go ahead
Fair.
and give your more in-depth thoughts. Then we can kind of go back and forth on some spoilers, but just your overall consensus on the movie.
All right. No. Yeah, I thought it was pretty good actually. Nothing crazy, nothing really moving the needle. Nothing I would say that's even great. Like nothing that's really gonna make someone tell somebody about it. But it wasn't a bad movie by any stretch, and I don't think it was. And I think the movie actually does some things pretty good. Um, I mean, the whole thing is Anthony Mackie as Captain America, right? Like that's let's just that's that's the that's the if that's the if factor. It's like a lot of people are kind of iffy on if he'll be the next if they'll actually be cool with him as Captain America, if he can actually do it. And some people are actually like, yeah, like so on board with Anthony Mackie. I'm one of those people. I don't know how you can't be one of those people, but because I love me some Anthony Mackie. But and then the additions of like Harrison Ford and then Danny Ramirez Falcon. Um,
Yep.
I think it was all pretty good. Some of the action sequences could get a little bit junky in terms of like the hand to hand combat and stuff like that. But I think overall, like the action sequences were actually pretty good in IMAX. Like they were actually like they looked really good. I'm just gonna like um but it just slips up in the plot. It kind of it feels like a drag. Like it feels boring at
Hmm.
points. Like it's just it feels hard at points. It's like not necessarily makes you want to get out of your seat, but definitely makes you twist and turn and scratch and do whatever. But I mean, all in all, I don't think this was the worst movie ever, and I think it was a lot better than the expectations were. I mean,
Yeah, that's
it
true.
came out with like a 50 something percent on Rotten Tomatoes, and the entire internet, of course,
And
like the
that's
internet always
after the
does.
plethora of reports on reshoots, characters coming in and out,
Yeah,
actors in and out. Like,
yeah.
but yeah,
I
as for me,
mean,
I thought I liked Anthony Mackie, and I thought Harrison Ford was actually like not phoning it in, which surprised me. Like he was
I
actually
liked Harrison
trying.
Ford. I feel like somewhere in there though, there was like a
I will say
cool
the one
buildup of his
issue I had
character.
with him was it did feel like Harrison Ford and not like Thunderbolt Ross, which is
Yeah, of
okay.
course.
I don't
I
know. I
mean,
mean,
removing the mustache
already
kind
you're
of
like
does
50%
that too.
off.
Yeah.
Like, but yeah, I like the dynamic between Sam, Joaquin, and Isaiah Bradley. I thought Isaiah specifically, I thought he was the standout performance wise.
Oh yeah,
Every
I didn't even talk about. That's my bad.
just
I didn't even talk
just
about him.
gravitas. Every time he's on screen, there's so much,
Carl Lumbly. Every scene
yeah,
with Carl Lumbly
so
as
much
Isaiah Bradley was great.
emotion and
Every single one.
experience every single time he's on screen. Like I genuinely felt it. I thought the villains were horrendous. I just think the whole
The
marketing
leader.
behind this kind of killed it. Like if how can I put it? If Red Hulk wasn't on everything, I think people would have walked out of this a lot more positive. I just think like when your
I'm
entire
gonna be honest. I
movie,
think the only way to not even allude to that would have been just cutting him out entirely in the marketing,
I
and that
don't
was
think
never
they
gonna
should have.
happen.
I don't think they shouldn't have alluded to him. I think we should have gotten like a what was it? We recently got something like I don't know, like you know when in the trailer you see like the red hand, that should have been it. Like that should have been it.
Okay, I can see
And
that. I
and
can see
then
that.
so then when we go into the movie, like
But like, I'm gonna be real. When you see Red Hulk's torso and his head and his hair, it's like, bro, it's like that's
what?
clearly Thunderbolt Ross. like
No, it's
it's
not
clearly
that.
Harrison Ford.
It's not that. It's. I'm not saying that like to not because we don't know that it's Thunderbolt Ross or not. I'm just saying you make the audience expect that like Red Hulk now is going to be in the movie quite a bit when he's literally in the movie in the shots that like we see in the marketing. Like that's it. Like he's not, and the entire movie's building up to
Oh
this
well, I'm
reveal.
saying that's what I'm saying is that the movie builds up to this reveal, and the reveal sucks
Right.
because in the trailers, like it was never gonna happen that they weren't gonna market Red Hulk, and
I
so
just,
like
I'm not saying that they shouldn't
the
have.
hand just being
Obviously,
it is fine. Again, that's fine. But as soon as you look at the head, it's like, oh, that's clearly Harrison Ford's Thunderbolt Ross. He's gonna be the Red Hulk, guys.
yeah,
Like,
I'm
and
saying
so
don't show
that
the
reveal
head.
just
I'm
But yeah,
saying
that is crazy.
just
Though.
show the hand. Make people
That's
go,
crazy that they.
oh my God, is Red Hulk going to be in this? That way, in their mind, they're not watching the movie just for Red Hulk, but they think he's going to be in it. So when he does show up for the like 5 minutes he is in the movie, they're satisfied. They're satisfied and they like it because all we got was a hand. And we didn't know if he was really going to be in it.
And it was a good 5 minutes. It was a good 5
minutes. It was.
Minutes.
Unfortunately, the 5 minutes are like in all the marketing and you plaster them all over the posters. So now you subconsciously make the audience think Red Hulk's going to be in this movie quite a bit. So when he's not, like he wasn't, every audience member is sitting for an hour and a half waiting on Red Hulk. And that makes audiences walk out of the theater going, it was okay. But like, I thought Red Hulk was going to be in it more. I mean, of course you did.
Yeah.
And I do think like, it was odd because, there's the other stuff in this movie is not very marketable. So, like, I understand why they marketed Red Hulk because realistically,
they're also trying to market it kind of like some, like, OG Marvel, like...
That's my thing. Outside of Captain America, the character, I mean, like, you're not going to get audiences interested. So, like, I understand why they marketed Red Hulk. It just sucks because I do think it was always a double-edged sword. It was always either don't market the Red Hulk, and you end up with people disinterested in the movie because they're looking at fucking Giancarlo Esposito as Sidewinder.
Exactly.
And, like, they're not that interested other than the prospect of it being a Captain America movie. Or market Red Hulk, and a bunch of people are going to expect him to be in it. It's a double-edged sword, but I just think how they should have did the latter.
This movie feels like everybody does not get enough.
Very true. Very true.
Captain America doesn't get enough.
Yeah, even his arc. And yes, I do think...
Falcon, Isaiah Bradley.
We've spoken about this off the channel, but the entire Falcon and the Winter Soldier show, while I did enjoy it, and I think I got reactions on the channel for that, it hurt this movie in a way that I didn't think about until after you walk out and go, oh, wait, there really wasn't a clear direction to take his Captain America in after Falcon and the Winter Soldier. That is if you're not trying to actually say something politically, right? Obviously, if you were, you can really do something interesting with Captain America.
Yeah.
But when you play everything safe and you're not trying to do anything political at all, there's no real way to take Anthony Mackie's Captain America that's going to be a fulfilling arc or a satisfying arc for his character when we got most of what we kind of envisioned in the show. Had the show not existed and this movie been about him taking up that mantle, we get that white suit in the third act, like that would have been infinitely more exciting than this entire movie. White suit. I really do too. I hate that he ditched it because of
the way it looks when he is in the
fly, of a little
when he's
cut
in the fly, when he's in the clouds flying. The way it looks, like
I like it, but yeah, we can go into spoilers. Okay, let's just get it out the way.
Let's go into spoilers. The
leader is the main villain, and he was
a 2-pack of ass.
I cannot believe they wasted the leader. This is not a MODOK situation where like MODOK is like in the movie, but he's like treated horribly and like no one really cares about MODOK in the first place. This is the leader. Like this is the most intelligent being in like Marvel, other than like Reed Richards. Like this,
he's
Dr.
behind
Doom.
The whole movie, The Incredible Hulk. He's like behind the like.
It's like
doing all
that's another thing I want to get into. It's like The Incredible Hulk too, more than a Captain America movie.
Tying into The Incredible Hulk is literally. I'm sorry, I'm still trying to wrap my head around this shit, man.
It doesn't make sense.
This is one of the craziest decisions
that
Marvel has ever done, and nobody talks about it.
For those lines back in 2008 to be tied up. Like, bro, we don't care.
I do not understand how you take... Bro, was that not the first MCU movie?
No, it was the second. It was
the second. That's crazy when you put it like that. That is crazy when you put it like that. It was the second MCU movie, bro, and they're tying...
And in
loose
2024,
2025,
we're supposed to get like goosebumps for a Betty Ross cameo. What are we? Woo.
That's what I'm saying.
It would make sense.
It's not like we're seeing Abomination.
And that's the issue, right? I think, number one, the way that the MCU has handled the Hulk IP has been doing
My thing is Thunderbolt. My thing is the MCU moved Thunderbolt Ross from that already. So like there was no reason for them to even think about going there.
But my issue is if they are thinking of going there, which they did, just go there.
Yeah,
don't make Betty Ross a cameo.
Don't
put her
in
the movie.
Yeah, just
put her in the movie. Bring in Abomination. But no, they've like
the glue shitos are taking over our movies.
Yeah, consistently over the course of the MCU, everything Hulk related has like gone downhill, right? The Abomination's like now a pacifist from She-Hulk. Honestly, let me fix that. I don't think Abomination's really a pacifist. I just think he is in She-Hulk. This is my headcanon because that's She-Hulk's story, right? She-Hulk's story is the way she wants her story. If she wants Abomination to be a goofy clown, if she wants Daredevil to be a goofy, they can. That doesn't mean they will be in everything else. So like that's the only difference. But like the way they've handled this Hulk IP, turning Hulk into, Smart Hulk, which I do think his character was going to evolve anyways. But, it's pretty clear. We want the rage back. We want that Hulk back. And then, obviously, Abomination. And then,
we got it for the 5 minutes of Red Hulk.
You make this a straight up. Let me just say, this is an insane statement that I'm about to say, but it's so true about this movie that if you love, specifically, the Eternals, the Incredible Hulk, and Black Widow and Black Widow, you are going to love this movie. I don't know who that applies to. But yeah, like that alone just explains the errors of this movie. Not only is the leader's plan completely ridiculous, oh my goodness, they took the aura completely out of the leader. He is like
the leader.
He looks bad.
In this movie,
visually, his look is horrendous.
For his whole thing to be like this guy who knows everything and like
the probability,
has insane capabilities,
79% chance. I'm like.
The fact that he's supposed to be this character and he's like this lapdog who's end up doing shit for like Thunderbolt Rock. I can't even. Again, the movie is it's cool. It's not very
Quantumania levels.
No, it's not that bad, but we're making it sound like it's the worst movie of all.
Yeah,
time.
it's just
there's just glaring issues.
Here's what I'll say. It is a hollow movie, which sucks because
there is stuff there though. That's what
even when a hollow movie isn't bad, a movie like, let's say, Venom 3 is more enjoyable than this. Do I think it's better? No. Not at all. But I enjoyed Venom more than this because it's not hollow. Like, this movie is so flat that, like, even though it's better than the dumpster fire I thought it was going to be, I wish it also could have been. Maybe there could have been something, like, at least, like, in Quantumania, like, MODOK is such a ridiculous character in that movie, and the movie's so bad that I'm like, I'm not getting this anywhere else in the MCU. I'm not getting, the MCU not giving me this consistently, so, I mean, I guess I'll take it, but it's like, Cap 4 is like every streaming action thriller. They did
a real disservice to Sam Wilson.
They did. And I do want to preface that because none of what we're saying is on Anthony Mackie's Sam Wilson.
No.
He was great.
If anything, I think Anthony Mackie elevates some of the script in certain moments in the movie.
Yeah, and I think it's a shame because I hate to make this about race or whatever, but when you see the black man as Cap in his first movie, that's a big thing, right? And you gave him TV writers. You gave him the director of Cloverfield Paradox. You didn't even try. There's like 6 writers on this movie. Marvel, how come you could hire Stephen McFeely from those Cat movies to do your Avengers movies? That you couldn't do that for this Cat movie? Or any good writer that you've previously had? Or any good writer at all? Not that I would want to diss people like Malcolm Spellman. I think they handled their own.
Or a
decent
shooting.
Yeah, but it's
not having to go through a bunch of reshoots or decent marketing. Not effing up the marketing and showing things you like. There's so many components that's like
from step one to the last. It's been like ridiculous, and it hurts because now we got the news today about the second week drop on this movie, and it is.
It's not the second week drop yet.
Is that projected?
The second opening day drop, but everybody keeps
opening
saying
day drop.
It's the second. The weekend isn't over yet, so obviously it's not. The
second that's true.
Drop. But I did tweet out. I was like, dude, if it stays at this pace, it's gonna be a top 5 second week drop of all time.
Yeah,
top 5 worst second week drop of all time,
and that's crazy
out of any movie ever.
And it hurts me because, you know, these big studios learn the wrong lessons from stuff like this, right? They watch No Way Home make $1.9 billion, and you know what they think? They don't think, let's make a story that hits your heart. They think, throw characters from the past in the movies and it'll make $1 billion. That's what the studios learn.
I just think
the studios will learn from this is no more Black Captain America movies. That's what they're going to learn. And that's just unfortunate.
Yeah.
Because that's how studios think. I pray they don't. Though.
I think the worst part about it is that in the first place, they weren't as serious with the project.
That's very true. Is this what this
like
come
a
from
studio?
The Bob Chapek,
a studio is gonna take a Spider-Man very serious. They're gonna pump loads of money, make sure the marketing is sharp. They're gonna take Spider-Man serious.
That's the rough thing is
the Anthony Mackie Captain America film.
I think this is the last.
Start shooting that.
I don't know about shows, but I'm pretty sure this is the last movie that was made and started under the Bob Chapek era, which was a big issue, right? Bob Iger left, Bob Chapek came in and said, make 5,000 streaming shows, make 5,000 movies. We don't care how good it is.
Yeah.
Quantity over quality. And that hurt the brand, and Bob Iger obviously had to step in and go like, what the hell is happening? It's crazy that he came back. Like, how many times do you see that? He came back, and obviously, you know, that's worked out so far, right? He came back, the Moana show turned into a movie, $1 billion. Like the guy knows that when you have a valuable IP, treat it valuable. You know, whether or not the movie ends up being bad, that's here nor there. Treat it.
That's another thing that sucks about Captain America. It's kind of a
and it was the last. That sucks.
It's kind of baggage.
Was so close
baggage
to missing
from the. Yeah.
It was so close to just being in the new era where they take it serious. So close. It was the last. Because
Thunderbolts, let's be honest, movie. Thunderbolts, they clearly have a certain vision and direction for Thunderbolts.
Yeah, regardless
Same goes for
of how that movie is
going to be. Daredevil looks like it's going to be great. Hearing great things about that Spider-Man show. Like they're clearing things up. They just announced that they stopped production on like 3 different shows.
It was like, Nova, Stranger Academy, and something.
They even came out and said, "Hey, we're gonna clean things up. We're gonna go back to putting, instead of just shoving a bunch of as much stuff as we can out."
And that's my thing, right? That's what we appreciate.
Take our time
from the MCU before, right? The MCU in phases 1 through 3 had duds. They had their Thor: The Dark Worlds, their Ant-Man and the Wasps, their Iron Man 2s. They had them. But they didn't look like Frankenstein. They were a vision. And whether or not they were good is neither here nor there. Whether Thunderbolts ends up being a phenomenal movie or something trash, it looks like a consistent movie that was thought of, that had a process, a creative process from start to finish that was consistent. No month like multiple months of reshoots, no actors being signed and then brought off their project, no not a TV series, cancel it, actually turn it to a movie, Armor Wars, like none of that, and it just sucks that Anthony Mackie's Cap was like the last movie.
It just nicked him. Nicked him.
Just got him. Because whether or not, like, let's say this was made in the Bob Iger era.
I think the Russos got some plans for him, though.
I hope so, because if this movie were to be made now and it ended up being bad, at least I would know, like, the trailers wouldn't look the way they do. The movie wouldn't look the way it does. You know what I mean? Like, when you're, like, think of the projects, all the MCU movies this year, right? Even though Fantastic Four and Thunderbolts look like a consistent vision, all three projects have, like, film or have television writers and directors on them. And that feels odd. Not saying they're going to be bad. That's not normal for them. That's like all three written and directed TV people. And it's weird. And I don't want to discredit people like Malcolm Spellman that did Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Cool. They did their job on that. But a movie's a lot different. And those are they're not experienced screenwriters on films. I think like Falcon and the Winter Soldier was like their only thing. Like at the time, like you can't do that and expect us to like it. And it's so sad. And I just wish, of all things, you know, it was always going to be a hard bar to clear any movies in that Cap trilogy with Chris Evans. But I mean, you didn't even give the man a chance. You got scriptwriters where the dialogue is horrendous. 3 villains, all bad. When has that worked out for a single comic book movie? You name me a comic book movie that has 3 villains in it that were all bad, but the comic book movie ended up being pretty good. You can't name me one. I just don't get it, and it infuriates me. And while I did not completely hate the movie, it's like empty. It was such an empty experience. That was sad to me.
Yeah. It feels like there's it just feels like there's just such a missed opportunity here. Like,
and then they proceeded to make themselves.
I just don't understand how you take it upon your own volition to make Sam Wilson this titular Captain America character and not do justice and abide by what you've done with said character. I can't wrap my head around it. And it makes me think that this was maybe never supposed to be a movie.
That's the thing, man. I don't know how to feel about because like
characters
6 television writers on it.
Characters like Ruth in here feel like TV
it was
show characters.
Sabra at first.
Sabra, yeah.
And then they changed it. Wonder why.
They feel like TV show characters.
They do. And honestly, no disrespect to like cinematography. Just looks like a more expensive Falcon and the Winter Soldier. It's really what it looks like. Does not look like a big budget Marvel movie. I'm sorry, it doesn't. It doesn't. Watching it in IMAX, didn't have to. Could have probably watched it on this. Perfectly fine.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
And that's just sad. And then they completely embarrassed themselves with that post-credit scene, which was a waste of time. But then today, the director revealed it was alluding to the Illuminati. What?
And then I saw somewhere where the director said something like, I don't know, I forget. I think it was like about the leader or something. And he was just basically like, you'll have to wait and see and find out. And I'm like, bro, do you think people give a fuck after this movie?
That's what I'm saying.
Like, do you think people care?
No, he said that about Sidewinder, about Giancarlo Esposito's character. Or like, they left. I'm like, okay, who cares? At the most, he'll be like another Batroc from Winter Soldier that popped up in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Like at the
Yeah.
most, like we don't care. Like
That's all
it's a
I'll say.
mess. Yeah, it's a mess. But not the worst MCU movie. I can name 5 MCU movies
Not the worst at
that
all.
are worse than this.
Again,
for
we
sure.
are making it sound like it is just dog water.
It
but
just hurts
it's
us.
Not it's not that bad. It's just it's just
tough.
a huge missed opportunity, and it ultimately it just makes you feel disappointed.
Absolutely.
Like,
But
I would rather watch a bad movie and recognize that it's a bad movie rather than just feel disappointed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was tough, but you guys tell us in the comments below.
Let us know.
What did you guys think about Captain America Brave New World? If you watched it, if you haven't, are you excited for it at all? Anything related to this, please let us know your thoughts. And then obviously, if you enjoyed this video, please like the video, subscribe, click that bell, all that stuff. Helps out the channel a ton, and it's completely free. We greatly appreciate it. But once again, go ahead and let us know your thoughts in the comments down below. And now we're on the last topic, and that is The Monkey. Just released, I think, at the time of this recording, yesterday? And,
well, technically 2 days ago.
Okay, but, yeah, we watched it.
On Thursday.
We saw it, on a little Friday night, and,
yes,
well, actually, it was like noon, but, listen, I thoroughly enjoyed this. I really enjoyed this movie. And I can see where people have their problems with it. Especially, I do think the first half is stronger than the second half. But I like the way.
Really?
Yeah, I like the third act still.
Okay.
I don't think it's like. I do like the first half more, though, because I think, without going into spoilers, of course, I do think the second half loses just a little bit how playful it was. I think it still has those moments, but that first half felt like watching like a straight up comedy satire. Like it straight up felt like hilarious, and it's camp in all the ways I love personally. And I thought the kills were great. I just think you could definitely tell this was based on a short story, because there's just a certain
try to stretch that.
Yeah, there's a specific, I mean, obviously it's about a monkey, but there's a specific way it ties into the story, and it just feels so stretched, right? They introduce the concept within like the first 5 minutes, and you kind of get the gist. Like already you know what the arc is most likely going to be, you know what the story is. And so the path to get there is quite fun. And then in the second half, it becomes a bit slower. It turns into like a road trip movie almost.
It gets slower. It starts to have a little bit more serious moments.
Yeah, it starts to pull back on
some more grounded moments. And then the third act kind of picks that back up.
Yeah.
Kind of picks back up what they had.
But by then you're like already like I kind of get it. Like you're like, I kind of get it. You know, you might be enjoying it, but you're like, I know what it is. And I think this was always going to be, I think I tweeted this, it was always going to be hard to follow Long Legs. Not that Long Legs was like the greatest thing of all time, but that was a splash, man. That was a huge splash.
It was wildly talked about. And like
the movie or not, the marketing behind it was amazing.
The look of that movie.
Yeah, it's visually amazing. Has like, I'd say it's performed better as well. But yeah, I do like the direction Osgood Perkins took. Instead of trying to like top it, he just went completely in the opposite direction. It was like, let's take nothing serious. Like, let's make the kills more extravagant. Let's make the characters more quirky. Crazy. Like, let's make the dialogue more cheesy. Like, it was
the editing.
It was leaned far into over the top, and I did appreciate that. And while I'm not like probably not as high on it or as low on it as a bunch of other people, I thoroughly enjoyed myself in that theater.
I did as well. It did not long overstay its welcome whatsoever.
I agree. I agree.
I dig the cursed item concept. I like kind of like talk to me. Like I dig it. It's cool. Like when you're kind of on this journey with this just haunted object. I kind of like it. I like Theo James. I'm a fan of Theo James. I like his work. And I think the movie leaning into the that inherent campiness and wittiness and like goofiness, I think that helps it a lot. I think if this movie was like a lot more serious tone, I think you have something that kind of feels a little bit more lacking, like a little bit more lackluster, something that kind of just feels like nothing. I think that at least gives the film some dimension. It gives it some kind of, some kind
Personality.
of je ne
Gives it a
sais quoi.
personality. Gives
Yeah,
it a voice.
it gives it some personality. And yeah, there's moments where the film slows down, but I think it does enough to like keep you entertained throughout, and the kills are really good. I think Osgood Perkins has like he clearly has a specific way of like telling a story. He really
Definitely.
likes he really likes to take his time in doing a proper build up for certain moments, whether they hit or not. That's entirely into the eye of the beholder, but like it's clearly like the way he writes stuff, and I can appreciate that. And there's moments in this movie where, I can appreciate a lot, and stuff like moments with Tatiana Maslany. Some of the just images and visuals in the movie are really cool throughout. Like I was thoroughly entertained. But yeah, that setup that it does, um, it it's not it doesn't feel like a flashback, but it is. Um, but at the same time, the third act picks it back up just in time to like keep you entertained enough, and I can appreciate that. I think I think overall it's pretty good, but I'm not gonna go crazy over it. I'm not gonna be like, you gotta go buy a ticket right now to go watch the monkey in
Yeah, if
theaters.
you caught
But
this on streaming, I think you would.
yeah, but like I wouldn't be mad. Like I
The
think you should
experience
go
wouldn't
watch it. It's
be.
cool. I like it. I really
Yeah.
like it. It's cool.
If you were looking to watch something this weekend, I would recommend The Monkey. I think you would have a good time. Now, some of my friends did not like it, and some of them adored it.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I'm curious to see what people think about this. It did start off as a much more what's well received film, and over the course of a couple weeks, and now that it's released, it is a bit lower, but still very well received. And I enjoyed
Yeah.
myself once again. I thought the movie was extremely fun. It took almost nothing seriously, which I can appreciate that. Sometimes I need a breath. And while, the story definitely did feel stretched at times, I think by the end of it I walked out going like I wasn't mad at that. Like I really enjoyed it. I thought some of the quirks were great. I do think, however,
Yeah.
Osgood Perkins' directing style doesn't quite complement the silliness that the film could have been. Like it could have been a lot more upbeat, a lot more energetic, with how camp it was. Think Tucker
Yeah.
and Dale, think Slither, think like those movies that have these characters that are like inherently goofy, but the tone and the style and the voice behind the filmmaking is a lot more energetic. And Oscar Perkins definitely takes his time. But yeah, I don't have like much bad to say about it. Not much like praises, but I thoroughly enjoyed myself. So you guys tell us what you guys thought in the comments below on what you thought about The Monkey. If you watched it, if you haven't, will you go check it out?
Let
Are you
us
excited?
know.
And as always, please do us a favor, like the video. That would help us out a ton. Subscribe, click the bell, all that. It's completely free. And once again, let us know your thoughts by jumping down in the comments below. But that's going to do it for this episode 14, I believe, of the double feature podcast.
Little bit of
Little
shorter
bit,
one.
little bit. And yeah, as always, let us know your thoughts on all these topics. And yeah, remember, you guys can
Leave
send
some
us
stuff below.
questions. Yeah,
Yeah.
you guys can send us questions using the link down there. Also, follow our social media handles, which are obviously right below us. And yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed talking about all these topics. But
Interesting stuff. Hopefully we get some interesting tidbits in the coming weeks. I think some marketing is going to start kicking up a notch.
For a lot of stuff.
We're gonna start getting some more. So hopefully we can do another podcast soon. Get some more stuff to talk about. Maybe even do some live streams here. And,
Absolutely, I do want to do live soon, and I do want to just talk in longer form about this type of stuff because it allows us to be a lot more detailed. But also, if we were to do lives, we could obviously interact a lot better. But better. That's gonna do it for this episode of the Double Feature Podcast. It's Bitty Boy Keezy.
Hey boy Kels.
And hopefully we see you all in the next one.